You're listening to the Get Peel podcast, a space for life enthusiasts to get inspired, learn through others about fitness, business, relationships, and life itself. I'm your host, Hannah Eden, a fitness entrepreneur that has an obsession with sweating and a burning desire to share and inspire others with the lessons I've learned through fitness. Hello, and welcome back to the Get Peel podcast with myself, Hannah Eden. And today I have a very, very special guest. This is Mr. Eric Leija, also known as the Primal Swoledier. So if you guys can't see him, he just threw up a nice little bicep crunch, like a little bicep flex there. Just so big, the sleeves fell off his shirt. It's crazy. First of all, thank you so much for being here, dude. I really appreciate your time. I know that time is extremely valuable. So thanks for...
thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I love doing podcasts. Love talking about myself.
I love that. Hey, the floor's going to be all yours, bro. So I had a really cool conversation with Fran without you, and I thought that was really cool. And now I wanted to have a really even cooler conversation with you without Fran, because Pal and I together, we know how these things go. Sometimes it's like this weird space of trying to share the floor together and not overpower. So I want to get into you. Like, I want to know more about you as an individual, as a human being. We obviously see the outside with your almost 1 million people that follow you on Instagram. I've been following you for a very long time, creeping hard, but I really don't know you on a personal level, right? So if we strip back all the layers and we peel it down, I did some creeping on your account and on your website to try and find out a little bit more about you. And before we get into anything, we both have an IKFF kettlebell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with Ken Blackburn.
Yeah,
he is the man. And it's a very different style than what you do now. So let's rewind back. And I said to Fran, we always talk about these 3 different things, right? You as a person on a personal level, business and how you've applied yourself, and then your relationship. So let's start on a personal level. Let's go back years and years and years. Like, tell me about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what you want people to know about you.
So I'm Eric Leija. I was born and raised here in Austin, Texas. And, growing up, I was a chubby kid. I come from a Mexican family. And, we always had like homemade tortillas and all types of cheese and chorizo. Yeah, so all the good stuff growing up. And so I grew up chubby. I mean, like the rest of my family, everybody was chubby growing up. But my older brother Juan, I think, did you do a podcast with him?
Not yet. He wasn't feeling too hot, but we're going to get in there.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's under the weather. But yeah, so growing up, he's like 8 years older than me. So cool. I always looked up to him. He was always like, he was chubby too growing up, but then he got super fit, got into bodybuilding. And so once he got in really good shape, he started teasing me when I was like going into middle school. That's when like I started worrying about, girls and, I want to be cool. So I could, try to kiss a girl, have a girlfriend. And I have an older sister as well. She's the middle child. And she would make fun of me too, because they were both in high school. They were probably getting bullied. I don't know. So they started bullying me while I was in 6th grade.
You're like, what?
They're like, hey, you're so chubby. You're so fat. You got man boobs.
Oh no! These things are scarring, right?
They traumatized me. Yeah, but they made fun of me all the time. So I finally was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop playing video games. I'm gonna stop eating Jack in the Box all the time. I'm gonna stop crying to my mom to bring me fast food. I wanted to start running. So I think that summer after like my first year in middle school, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start running. I started running outdoors, lost a ton of weight, and then I got super skinny. And I think I started playing football in middle school. That was fun. So I did well in 7th grade football, but I was like, you know what? I can do better. Cool. I'm gonna start lifting weights like my big bro. And so I started jacking his weight set. I read through the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding.
I love that.
The old Schwarzenegger book.
Shout out.
Yeah, I went through that, learned how to work out pretty much, and I ended up actually, just loving the way my physique was transforming and the way I was able to like work really hard in the gym and see results. And so that's how I got into working out. And then flash forward to 8th grade, I'm like, all right, let's take it to the next level. Like, I'm fit, I'm strong. I bet I could be like a good fighter. That's when like the UFC started becoming kind of popular. My brother was super into the UFC as well, so we'd watch that every weekend. And so I was like, you know what? Let me try it out. Let me go take some jiu-jitsu classes and some kickboxing. And I went in 8th grader, but I was pretty swole. But man, I got beat up by everybody. Everybody was mopping the floor with me, you know. So I was getting embarrassed by everybody. I was like, "What's wrong? Like, I look like I'm in better shape than all these other kids in this class. But like, why can't I beat them up? Why are they like ragdolling me?" And I realized, you know, like the stuff that I was doing in the gym, like, you know, curls, bench press, overhead press, it was making me like pretty strong, but when it came down to being conditioned for, you know, wrestling and, you know, getting punched in the face, it didn't translate over very well. And, you know, flash forward a few more years, you know, I got out of high school and I actually wanted to be an MMA fighter.
Cool.
Yeah, so I trained for a couple years. I trained with a couple different, you know, cool camps. I actually traveled to Minnesota.
Awesome.
And trained up there with those guys, like really good wrestlers. And I learned a lot, you know, getting to train pretty much how these like UFC fighters train, and I saw what it took to be in that type of shape. I trained with some of the best coaches, and you know, I actually had an MMA fight.
That's awesome.
And so I did a kickboxing match as well. So you know, I ended up learning a lot while training for strength and conditioning for combat and sports. That after I didn't want to do that anymore, and I became a personal trainer. I had like all the tools that I had learned from MMA and martial arts, and kind of started, you know, borrowing from those types of systems and combining them with traditional, conventional stuff that I was using with my clients, just to kind of spice up the routines and make it more fun. And actually, you know, that's when I first learned about kettlebell training, was when I was watching these UFC fighters train. They were using kettlebells. They were super popular at the time. They still are. So that's when I first got exposed to them. And then I remember I started working on Onnit.
Cool.
In the warehouse.
Oh, really?
You know, so
I love this.
So
I love this shit.
Yeah, I spent a couple years, you know, trying to be a UFC fighter, trying to train MMA, and you know, I kind of was dabbling in and out, and I dropped out of school. Like I got into UT Austin here. I went there for like a semester.
What did you go for?
I hadn't declared a major yet.
Okay.
I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I didn't enjoy college. I felt like I couldn't like relate to anybody, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this. Like I dropped out, and at the time, me and my brother, we were good friends. Or my brother was good friends with Aubrey, and I had met him before. We actually used to train in El Garage, which was Aubrey's old garage he used to have at one of his houses. And I would train there with him and Sean, and the coach at Onnit, my brother, and Roger Huerta, this former UFC fighter. And so we would all go in there and train in Aubrey's garage. I remember I was probably like 14.
That's
when
awesome.
Me and Aubrey put the gloves on, and he beat me up. And he still holds that over my head.
Never let me live it down.
Never lets me live it down. Well, that's the first time I met Aubrey, and so
he whooped your ass?
Yeah, he whooped my ass. I never got revenge.
I was going to say, have you had a rematch?
I never had a rematch.
I'd like to see that now. That would be a good one to watch, right? All this under your belt.
Oh, man. But then, so I knew Aubrey, and I was like, hey, man, like, I just dropped out of school, and I really like what you guys are doing on it. You know, you guys, you and Joe Rogan are crushing it. I love the message that you guys are, putting out there. I would love to work for the company. He's like, yeah, man. I mean, there's room in the warehouse right now. You want to work there? I was like, hell yeah.
Any way to get your
foot in. Let's go. And so I worked in the warehouse for a couple years, packing up kettlebells, taping up boxes, and just stuck it out, because I was really digging the community. Everybody there was super open-minded, and just, we all vibe really well. So I didn't mind, working in the warehouse. It was super cool. And then my brother ended up training people out of our small company gym. And Aubrey started noticing, like, man, this is dope. Like, the energy in this gym after hours is awesome. Like, maybe we should open our own gym.
Love that.
And so that's when Aubrey's like, man, let's open a gym and let's hire some coaches. And they offered me and Sean a job to be some of the first coaches. And that's when we actually got certified with Ken Blackburn on how to officially do kettlebells.
Remember that test?
The snatch test.
Yeah. The level 1 was like a certain amount of reps under a certain amount of time, right?
Yeah,
without putting
I think
it down.
it was without putting it down. Like at least 70 reps.
Yeah, something like that,
Something
like
like
35,
that.
35.
Yeah.
I remember it, and you could split it however you want, right?
Yep.
It was crazy. I do remember that. Learned a lot, but very different than what we do now, right? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I got my kettlebell base, and like you said, it's very different from what I do now. You know, the IKFF is like real sport specific.
Yeah.
You know, it's real efficient the way you move with the kettlebell. But that taught me a lot on how to be, you know, really smooth, and you know how to control the weight without getting too taxed.
Right,
And be efficient. And so that I learned a lot there. But nowadays, you know, working with all the clients that I work with, everybody, you know, they're not training for kettlebell sport or efficiency. They're trying to get gains, results, and lean muscle mass and lose body fat. And so, you know, it's teaching them a different type of training that's a little bit more fundamental, but still incorporates a lot of the cues.
And I think it's important that we're able to understand the differences and that they're not wrong. Like, a lot of people will look at like different styles of a snatch and be like, they're doing it wrong. It's like, no, it's just a different variation. And so as from a coach's point of view, I think that's so important, right? To be able to understand different techniques.
Seeing so many people argue on the internet.
It's like there's no right or wrong way of doing things.
I mean, it's cool. I guess it's clickbaity. You click on their video to see what they have to say, and they're just kind of trying to get attention, get views. You know, I don't know if they really think their way is the correct way to do it. I mean, there's
just narrow-minded. You know, they haven't experienced anything outside of that one way that they've
learned. The Onnit education system, because I got to train and coach some of the Onnit certifications alongside Marcus Martinez and Shane Hines and John Wolf, and one of their big, you know, messages is having a non-dogmatic approach to training, which means, you know, leaving yourself open to learning and receiving and giving, and, you know, not thinking everything that you know is the one way and the right way. Like, it might work for you, what you've been doing in the past, but there might be, you can learn something from anybody, you know, that it might have some value for you that you can incorporate into what you already know, or might even make what you know even better.
Absolutely.
You know?
And I want to tune into this story, right? So I have a few questions before we keep going of what you did after you got the official job at Onnit, right? But let's rewind back to whenever you were able to join in these fight camps. Like, I'm sure you learned a lot of physical, but to be able to watch a professional at that level, the amount of mental fortitude and the mindset and the resilience of the mind is something that trumps all of that, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that you picked up on something from that? And if you did, what was like one of the biggest takeaways from being able to be involved in something like that?
The biggest takeaways that I really saw was like, these guys aren't like invincible, and they're not like perfect. You know, they're machines because they learn, you know, like from their mistakes, and they leave themselves to be vulnerable. They go in there and they like. One of the things that I really saw was people who would try to have that mentality of just like go hard all the time. They would usually get hurt, or hurt others. But the best people and the most like badass fighters that I got to see train with, they would take somebody like me who was a beginner and, you know, take it easy with you and really show you the ropes and flow with you, as opposed to trying to just
destroy you.
Yeah, I mean, there would be a time and place when they would, you know, teach you a lesson, and you know, but what I saw was there was a deep amount of respect.
Awesome, man.
And, you know, like their values in combat sports is just, you know, you learn to be disciplined and to, you know, not be afraid to get beat up.
I like that. And the fact that you go back for more after you get your ass whooped, it's like there's something there, right? Like there's a reason why they're doing that. Accepting failure is one of them. And to be at that level, it's not always going to be a good day. Like you just said, like they are machines, they are crazy, but they're not perfect, and that's what it is. I think people think that someone like yourself or someone like me, like every day we show up is like the most epic workout every day. That's not the case at all, right?
Yeah, no, you definitely have to have like a growth mindset, you know, to where, you know, you want to work hard, put in the work, and do all these hard things and conquer these obstacles. But when things don't go your way, you don't, you know, just give up and be like, man, this isn't, you know, it's not working out how I thought it was. I lost, or I got beat up. I got beat up by everybody today. Like, I'm not improving. But you have to learn from those mistakes.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You know, that's everything is a teaching moment. If you look at everything as being like teaching you a lesson, then you're always going to keep improving, and everything's just going to help you keep stacking.
Yeah,
you know, brick by brick, so you can keep getting better. And that, for me, that took a long time to learn. Like, you know, I've always kind of felt like, okay, I understand this, but you know, it's hard to lose sometimes, and to you know, keep getting beat up. But if you stick it out and you really, you know, just try to learn from your mistakes, you can make some big leaps.
I believe it, man. I think if we all showed up and had the best day, then the bad days make you appreciate the good. You know, if you have a good day every day, it's like it doesn't mean much. When you have a good day, it's like, thank God, like this is fucking awesome, but it's taken so many wrongs to get it right. I think that's huge.
Yeah, and you learn to appreciate every moment. You know, everything's valuable. Even when I'm grinding away on the computer, you know, it can feel kind of boring and like tiresome. But I tell myself, like, you know what, this is, you know, I'm laying the foundation for myself and my clients to be able to improve and be better. This is, you know, you have to tell yourself, like, is there a deeper why? You know, like, what's the why? Why am I doing this? And when you find your why, then everything that you do, everything that happens, you know, it has more meaning.
Absolutely.
And you're able to stick to your goals a lot more effectively.
I love it. And we have a saying that we say that is, find your reason, right? Like, we slap that everywhere. That's our apparel company. But it's true. If you can move with intent physically, you're going to get more results, right? That's a fact. Time under tension, if you want to go science. Now apply that to the regular life too. Like, it can be applied in every single way. And I don't know about you, but I have learned so many lessons about life through fitness, and so many lessons about potential, my personal ability through fitness, right? I was reading a post that you wrote, was that you have in the past struggled with like self-doubt and having the confidence that whenever you want to put something out there, you always want it to be like the best of what it is. You have obviously found a reason between that Eric and this Eric, right? Like, what changed for you to be able to have the confidence to follow and pursue your passion, put shit out there, and be really proud of the work that you've done, and not allow the doubt to come and like interfere?
It's just, I think the biggest thing is seeing other people do it, you know, and knowing like, man, like, if he can do it, I can do it too, you know? Like, it's like, also like a fear of, like, it comes back to like, you know, not living up to your fullest potential.
Absolutely.
But then, you know, sometimes you're like you said, I was scared to put things out because it wasn't as refined or as perfect as it needed to be. But, you know, you learn over time that, you know, if you just wait and you lag, you know, you're just trying to perfect things, somebody else is going to go out there and do what you're doing, do it better. And
over-analysis causes paralysis, right? Isn't that what they say?
Yep. So now I learned to, you know, just start moving, you know, take that action, because that'll build momentum. And, you know, it's better to start than to just put things off forever.
Absolutely.
And if anything, you know, fake it till you make it. You know, everybody says that, but it works. You know, if you're scared to try things out, you know, you need to, you know, get over that, take a leap of faith and just try and learn. Like we talked about, you know, learning from your failures. It'll be a learning experience. Yeah.
I just saw a post actually, fake it till you make it. Someone tried to like go against that point, saying don't fake it till you make it, fail and get up again. It's like, hang on. Faking it till you make it means that you have to fail and fail and fail and fail and get back up and keep going. So accepting failure is a huge piece, right?
Exactly.
And understanding that
I think of
fail
it as,
doesn't mean wrong.
Like, fake it till you make it. It's just, for me, that just means, you know, like, fake that confidence.
Right.
You know, like, pump yourself up to, you know, to be the person that you want to be. And eventually you'll grow into that person. Yeah. You could cut it and slice it and say however you want. It's the same thing. I'm with you 100%. I think if you manifest it, believe it, and you genuinely do believe it, you will become it. And if you doubt yourself until I can't do it, well, then you're not going to do it, right? Like, and you said, if you see someone else do it, then you can say, if he can do it, then I can do it. I say that, right? And for me, Pal always laughs at me and says, I'm very black and white, right? It's either going to work or it's not going to work. That's just how my mentality works. And in my brain, I'm like, I think anyone could have done what I do, right? Like, purely because
I wasn't destined for this. You grew up, you're saying that you grew up chubby, right?
Yeah.
Clearly you weren't born as a Division I athlete, like ready to fucking go, you know? Like you earned your way to this place, you've earned your way here, and the only difference between you and someone else is just consistent effort and refusing to quit.
Yep.
So I want to talk about something that, I don't know if you remember this, but 2015, I remember sitting in an office at Men's Health headquarters, like just having lunch with the team or whatever, and we're like talking about up and coming people that are coming onto the scene. I remember looking over to BJ Gador, that was the digital fitness director at the time.
Yeah, BJ.
I'm like, dude, have you seen this guy? I'm like, it's Primal Swoledier. I remember you had just started to build this brand, and you had like maybe 10 or 12,000 people that followed you that time. Now we're here, you've got 1 million people on the gram, or just about, right, that are pursuing this. Like, what would you tell the old Eric in 2015 to now? Because I think I saw just a couple weeks ago, you're now working with Men's Health, and now you are in there. You know, you're not just a conversation in the lunchroom anymore, you're part of that.
Hell yeah.
Like, tell me what you would tell him and now.
I'd be like, man, just go harder, faster, go now. don't hesitate. You know, there's so much opportunity out there, and, you know, I was my own worst enemy back then. I always had doubt, you know, like we were talking about, and just always hesitating. You know, like I remember I was afraid to put out my first ever online product, my Primal kettlebell course, just because, you know, I thought like I've only been doing kettlebells for like teaching them for the last, 4 or 5 years, but I was, traveling and teaching certifications and working with tons of clients. So I had the expertise. I just didn't think anybody wanted to pay me to learn from me. And I never thought I would be successful on my own. I always thought I had to be with Onnit, like doing, products with Onnit was the only way to do it. And going off on my own just wouldn't work.
It's a scary thing, though, right?
It was scary. And thankfully, they've been super supportive of me building my own brand and, promoting my own products. And, once I finally took that leap and started, my own brand, it's been awesome. It's been super rewarding to work really hard and, see the fruits of your labor.
Absolutely, dude. And I think it's a stage of evolution too. Like the right people will support you, and the wrong people weren't supposed to be there anyway. Yeah,
that's the best part about working with Onnit. Everybody there has this mentality of we're trying to spread our sphere of influence. And that means we also support each other in our different endeavors, as long as all ships are sailing. If you're doing something that in the end is benefiting, the larger community, let's do it.
Yeah, I love that. And that's a big learning lesson that I've had, because I didn't have that experience whenever we decided to go out on our own. In fact, it was a total opposite. And I think I worked with the wrong reason for the longest time. It was almost like revengeful rather than like straight passion. And when you can separate that and realize, like, I'm not doing this for any other person other than myself, because you're going to burn out with that motivation, right? It's a game changer for sure. You just said something that really triggered me to move on to a different subject that was to do with you and Fran, right? Like, more minds are greater than one. To be able to, as long as all ships are sailing in the right direction, everything is great. So first of all, how did you meet? I love this because I have a different story to Paolo about how we met. So we've had friends. How did you and Fran meet?
So I went to Miami to teach a kettlebell certification for Onnit. And I remember I flew in on Friday night, and I was like super hungover. I had been out partying the night before, and I was ready to crash out, rest, and get ready to teach during the weekend. Because we taught, all day for Saturday and Sunday. So I was like, I need to rest. I need to go chill. And so I was trying to stay in, but then a buddy of mine, this guy AJ, he blows up my phone. He's like, hey man, I heard you just landed in Miami. I'm taking the certification with you guys this weekend, but I want to show you around, take you out. AJ had been a friend for a couple years. He was one of the guys to take one of our first Onnit certifications. Awesome. So I'd known him for a while, and he was super cool guy. So I was like, all right, man, man, I don't know. I don't want to go out. Like, I'm super tired. He's like, nah, man, come on, let's go out. I'll show you around, and it'll be fun. I was like, all right, man, just for you, all right. Come pick me up. So he comes and he picks me up, and he's like, yeah, man, let's go out. I'm going to take you to this bar, and we're going to meet up with my niece. I'm like, your niece? That's weird, man.
That's weird.
That's weird. Whatever. Let's just go. And then so we go out. We go to this bar. Or we're waiting outside. Like, it's popping. This is like out in Wynwood where all these bars are packed at night. And there's this huge line. And I'm starving. Like, all I want to do is go get some food. I'm telling AJ, hey, man, I'm ready to go eat, man. Is there food here? And then he's like, no, let's wait in line. I told my niece we're going to meet up with her. I'm like, man, we got to wait in line. So we're waiting in line, and then it starts pouring rain on us, and we're outside. I'm like, nah, man, let's go. There's a diner across the street. He's like, nah, man, let's just try to get in. And finally, we get in. The rain stops. They let us in, and we're walking through these like puddles. It's like a mess. And then I look up, and I see this girl across the dance floor. She's got this big curly hair.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, whoa, who's
this
that?
This is so worth it.
Yeah, and I'm like,
so
man,
good.
I better not be his niece, bro. And then, sure enough, that Francesca was AJ's niece.
That's amazing.
And so, I said hi. I tried to be as nice as I could. Try not to hit on her.
Because it's AJ's niece?
Yeah, I'm trying to be, a good friend, not hit on his niece. But next thing you know, I couldn't keep myself away from her. We ended up hitting it off, dancing the whole night away, and hung out all weekend. And so
cool,
the rest is history.
That's amazing. Cool story. And you guys have been a force. It's been cool. I didn't actually know that Fran began working with you from a very, very different point of view. Like, she was behind the scenes helping build Eric Leija, right? And or Primal Swoledier. I had no idea about that, and I think that's really, really cool that as individuals, right, like a lot of people don't like to talk about this shit, but Paolo and I are very aware of what happens in a relationship and then trying to do business together. To be able to be in a position where she worked for you and then have enough awareness and respect for each other to have a conversation to understand that maybe that isn't the best thing for you, her, or you guys together, and then to be able to be like, you know what? You do you, I support you. You do you, I support you. Whatever happens that we do together is even more of a force.
Yeah.
That's incredible, man. And that's really unheard of. Usually people will stay in it and someone's so unhappy about it that it breaks off the most important thing, which really is the only thing that matters, right? Which is the relationship. So talk a little bit about that. Like, how was that experience? And, from where it was to what you guys are doing now.
Yeah, so, initially she was helping me like in the back end with my customer service and helping me with my blogs and all kinds of stuff on the back end for my website. And, I could just tell she wasn't happy. She didn't like, taking orders from me.
It's tough, right? To align.
Yeah, and especially when, she had so much potential of her own to grow her stuff. And, so yeah, eventually we decided, you know what, I think it's best if, you just focus on doing your thing. Let's help you grow your business. We'll do workshops together.
Yeah.
We kept doing those together where you would travel and teach.
Which I went to one of those, by the way, and if anyone has a chance to show up, they should, because it's a great balance between your world and Fran's. And I think anyone that is into whether it's bodyweight or kettlebell should show up because it's extremely valuable. And I took a lot away that I learned to talk about, like, continue learning tips and shit. So yeah, if you guys have the chance, you should show up.
Yeah, so we were teaching those workshops together back then, and we kept teaching those. But she didn't want to work for me anymore, and I was like, I completely understand. I don't want this to ruin our relationship. So you do your thing and focus on building your products and showing the world your style of training. Because I'm sure she was tired of answering questions about my high intensity kettlebell workouts and how do I get swole, so she was able to work on herself, work on her business and her message to her people. And so that's been the best thing is she's been able to reach this whole different market of, women and people who want to do like body weight training. And so that when we combine forces, it's just even more people, and we can reach a whole different type of audience.
It's powerful. It really is. Very different worlds, but together is a really balanced world. It's cool.
Yeah, but it's cool that, we still do our own separate things.
Yeah.
That way we can really, do what we love, because I don't love doing body weight flows all the time.
Right.
I like to lift, throw heavy weight around. She doesn't really like lifting heavy weights.
Yeah.
So we have our own things that we're really good at and that we really like. And so we can pump that out to our community. And then where we see that synergy, that's where we combine forces and put out some.
I love it. I love it.
It's combined products.
It's really cool, and you guys have done a really good job of it. And also to be able to maintain a relationship through that experience, it's really cool. And I'm sure you've learned a lot about each other. The level of respect, I think, for independency is huge in a relationship, and you guys have clearly nailed that and gotten that down. It's a forever, never-ending project, though. I get it, but it's cool. It's really cool to see you guys do that. So we talked about you as a person. We talked about how your personal life kind of got you in the door at fitness. You built this brand. You now have an app. You have all these programs that you offer. You internationally recognized in the fitness space. Let's talk about relationships. When I say relationships, I don't mean just the ones with Fran, right? I think that relationships are really important. And if you can't keep them alive, then your business and your personal goals are also going to be affected, right? I was telling Fran that when I first got into this, what we do might look pretty from the outside, right? Like people think that we just work out all day and like just get to do bicep curls and shit and like travel and do these things. It's not. It's a hard life, right?
Yeah.
So don't regret it. Absolutely love what I do. But it's very fast paced and it can take a lot of time away from a normal life, right? So do you feel like ever since you've stepped into being this, representation of your brand, that your friendships with your friends, your relationships with your friends or your family or people around you have been affected in any way?
Yeah, I mean, you can, if you don't, really check yourself, you can get so busy to where you stop seeing your grandma, you stop calling your mom or stop calling your dad, it's like, especially after, this last year with COVID, had my grandma passed away and some extended family passed away, so it's like people are only here for a little while and you want to take advantage of having those people in my life. And so especially now, things I've built up a ton of momentum. I'm getting busier and busier with my app and all my stuff going on. So it's like I want to be successful at that kind of stuff and I want to, keep scaling, but not at the expense of, losing time of the stuff that really matters.
Yeah.
That matters to me.
Yeah. And it's hard because it's easy to say, hey, I can't meet you this day, I'll meet you next week. It's easy to not answer the phone when you're busy. It's really easy to do that. It's really hard to like draw the line and be like, no, like this is personal time, this is work time. Do you guys at home and in just your regular life create like rules? Like we don't talk about work during these times.
It's hard.
It is hard.
Especially when you really love what you do. It's like, especially like when I want to talk about things and ideas, like the things that creatively stimulate me are stuff about my workouts that I'm coming up with, or oh man, I tried this new routine and it was dope. What do you think our audience? Do you think people would like it? And then Francesca would be like, I've had enough.
I'm not doing this now.
I don't want to talk about this right now. And I'm like, all right, Yoshi.
Write it down. Yoshi. Yoshi is your beautiful dog, for those of you that don't know. That's amazing.
So I'm the one that's a little bit more, hard to see those lines sometimes. But for me, it's like I'm super passionate with anything that I'm doing. And so if I get really into for the next few months, I'm going to work on writing some new programs and setting a foundation for what I got coming up. And so I'm all in. And so even on my free time, like that's all I can think about, or something will pop in my head. Even when I'm like going for a walk and trying to chill, it's like I'm always just thinking about I guess the next step or some possible opportunities or just different ideas.
Yeah.
And it's hard to disconnect, but you have to draw the line.
Yeah.
So now, I try to do my best after, 5, 6 p.m., no more opening the computer, checking emails, no talking about work. You know, just save that for when we need to meet up, when we set time, so where we're going to talk about work.
I have like a little note thing so I won't forget. I'm the same way. I remember I used to be the person that would wake up in the middle of the night and be like, oh my God, I have the best idea. Roll over. Yo, Siri, remind me to da-da-da-da-da. But it is, and then
Siri never works.
I know.
I'm like, hey Siri, hey Siri.
You got to make sure that she understands your voice, right? So you got to hear you. And my accent messes with her all the time. She never picks up what I'm saying. But we can wrap this up and not keep you too much longer because I know you have places to be. But we obviously follow our passion to pursue a purpose, right? We can all have passions around our lives, but not really make it into a career or be able to monetize it. And find that you can go through life being able to be financially supported through what you're passionate about. I'm all about that. And that's how I got into this space. But after a while, when you become obsessively obsessed with what you do, that you can't stop, you won't stop, it's always great, you know? But there became a point for me where I'm like, I'm burnt out. And now I'm burnt out to the point that I'm starting to not like what I do. And I know that I don't want to ever feel like that because then I feel like I'm going to be an imposter, right? Like I'm pretending to be this person that I'm not. And that's my ultimate goal now is to be who I am 24 hours a day. Like not someone different that you see in the morning that's different and wear all these different faces, right? Like take it or leave it, this is me. But it becomes a point that that's hard, right? Because the balance is always going to be something to do. There's always a workout. There's always an opportunity. There's always an option to grow and meet this person or do this, that, and the other. It's really hard, and I'm still struggling with it now, which is why we're in a fucking trailer. Like, I'm such extremist, but it's like, how, and I don't have the answer, so this is a question for you, but like, do you ever find yourself in that position, and how do you pull yourself back to make sure that you feel fulfilled with everything that you're doing?
It's just, you know,
it's a heavy, loaded question.
No, it's happened to me a lot of times, you know, to where I burn out. Like, I was crushing it last year. I was super shredded. I was shooting as much content as I possibly could for my app that I was launching during the summer last year. And I ended up catching COVID because I was so stressed out. I wasn't getting any sleep. I was working out all the time, and I got sick. And after that, after I bounced back, I said, you know what? Like, I can't do that anymore.
No.
Like, I can't be at 4 or 6% body fat year round. You know, I was doing that. I was staying shredded for 2 years straight. And I was like, you know what? I'm not happy. Like, I want to eat what I want. I'm going to approach life with a holistic approach to training and nutrition and sleep and recovery and really practice what I preach. You know, because I'm not telling my clients to get super jacked and stay super jacked
really
year round. Like, no, you have to reverse diet, bounce back for a couple months, and enjoy yourself a little bit. That way you have sustainable results. I wasn't doing that. You know, I was teaching that to my clients, but I wasn't doing it myself. But now I'm like, I gotta practice what I preach.
I love that. And I think your clients probably appreciate and respect that more, right? Because it's like, otherwise it becomes unattainable. It's not a realistic goal that you could ever reach because, like you said, it's not healthy to be in that state. I've done that too, man. And I think that you put yourself on this idea of where you can be, and it's really hard if you've seen your physique or your performance be somewhere. And then if you come down, it's like, oh man, and you're constantly comparing yourself. I find now that I'm like, just own where you're at. You know, own where you're at. You're at this stage. There's a shit ton of other variables that come into life that come your way, and to kind of just accept where you're at right now. And if you want to get better, set a goal and just understand it's not permanent. You know, nothing's permanent.
Yeah, it's all about thinking of things on, like, just trying to think about your longevity. You know, things that are sustainable, so that you can keep doing, you know, what you love, not just, you know, try to hit this goal as fast as possible and then end up like messing it up right after, you know, gaining a bunch of weight back or, you know, getting injured. You know, if you're trying to get big too fast, you know, it's just focus on the long term and slow, sustainable goals. You know, it's better to make slow progress than a ton of progress really fast and then
go right back down again. I say that about like The Biggest Loser and all these shows, right? It's like, it's incredible to watch such a drastic transformation, but whenever I see that, it's like, man, like, to be able to lose that weight that quick is such a challenge, that is so out of character, that is so out of this person's regular norm, which is why they weren't able to, they unfortunately got to that state. But what has been implemented along that journey to help them continue that. Slow, steady progress is the way.
Yep.
So thank you. Thank you very much for sharing so much with us. But is there anything else that you want to let the people that are listening right now know about you, where they can find you, what's coming out soon? Tell them all the things.
You can check me out here in Austin, Texas. You can come to the Onnit gym. You can come work out with us there, or you can find me at ericleija.com. All my workouts are on there. I got an app too you can check out. But you can check me out on Instagram. I'm usually doing stuff with Hannah every now and then. Some cool videos, so check me out as Primal Swoledier.
How do they spell that?
Primal, Primal, and then Swoledier, Swoledie, Swoledier.
Awesome, I love that. And before we go, where the hell did that name come from?
So they were like, I remember we had just opened the Onnit gym, and we had the Onnit marketing team, and our chief of fitness at the time, he's like, you guys, to all the trainers in one of the trainer meetings, you guys need to promote yourselves more so we can get people in the door. You guys need to get on social media and, be active on there. And to me, I was thinking to myself, like, man, I hate social media. Like, I hate all those stupid guys taking selfies of their abs. Like, I don't want to be one of those dudes. I was like, man, what's this dumbest thing that I can think of? What's the silliest name? I was like, something like Primal, so I can represent on it. We were doing Primal kettlebells at the time, chimp, like all the chimp stuff. And I was like, Primal, and something tough, like a soldier. I also want to be like swole, so Swoledier. I was like, Primal Swoledier.
Just as born. I love that.
I remember running into the Onnit marketing team. They're all like in their cave, all artists, graphic designers. But hey guys, what do you guys think about Primal Swoledier? And they're like,
They loved it.
Yeah,
they loved it. It's a dope name, and you're never gonna forget it.
Yeah, nobody knows my real name. My name's Eric. Eric Leija.
That's awesome.
Yeah, everybody on the street, hey, you're Primal Swoledier.
You're like, by day, you can call me Eric at night. Yeah.
No, I love it. I love seeing people when they recognize me. It's always super cool.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for sharing. And, dude, I'm excited. It's always awesome
let's
to
go.
see you.
Let's get it.
For sure.